All right, everyone. So we are playing Mafia 3 before Mafia 4 comes out. And it was interesting because Mafia 1 and 2, I've always heard that they're pretty good games, but I never truly had played them and didn't really have any thoughts going in. There was nothing I was like, oh, this is how I feel about Mafia 1 and 2. Mafia 3 is a different story. I didn't have feelings about it before I'd even played it. I had always kind of figured it was the worst one in the series by far, and that's just what I thought, had never played it, just thought that's what I had heard. So when I ended up playing the game, I was actually really surprised at how much I liked it. I loved it, actually. I thought it was one of the most enjoyable experiences I've had in quite some time. I liked the, different things you could, you could capture these areas and you can call in someone with ammo, you can get the cops off you. There were just so many really cool systems that obviously weren't in the other Mafia games. There also was really a more you driven story, right? The first two Mafia games, when you're looking at them and you're playing through them, you're following a story that's already laid out. This one, it feels like you're a little bit controlling your own destiny in a way. And I understand there's still an overarching story, but it's not as direct. And that has positives and negatives. There's multiple endings in this game. There is this system of being able to give territory. Like, I felt like there was a lot of really, 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 really cool stuff in this game, and I did enjoy playing it. I thought the combat was great. I loved sneaking around and being able to like. It just was one of those things where even though it was very repetitive, and I know a lot of people that's true, right? It was very repetitive. I know a lot of people that would be a deal breaker for them. That was not a deal breaker for me. I don't mind repetitive games when I find the repetition to be fun, right? When I find what you're doing actually to be fun, that's how I felt in this one. And I was shocked by that because I really didn't think I was going to like it. And I did. Like I said, there's multiple endings. There's all these, like, there is a lot of replayability with this game as it pertains to, the game just keeps you there and there is so much to do. With that being said, I completely understand still, and this might seem like it doesn't make much sense. I completely understand still why many don't like this game and why many think it's the worst in the series. And that is because it's nothing like the other ones. The other ones, and we're going to do a larger video comparing them. It's not going to be like a 50-minute video, big retrospective, but I just want to talk about the difference between the three. The thing about this game is that it's not like 1 and 2. 1 and 2 had differences, but they were very similar. 3 could have put a different, like, had they put like any different title on this game, I would have never thought it would have been a Mafia game. You know what I mean? Like, the only reason this feels like any of the other games is because of the title and the fact that Vito is in it. Other than that, nothing, right? And other than that, there's basically no tie to the rest of it in the way it plays. And I do think that is one thing that I thought hurt the game, meaning I think it tried to lean in to the old style and have its own new style. I think it should have just embraced the new style. The best part of the game to me was when you were taking down the big family. The problem is, first of all, to get to that moment, you have to play for quite some time, right? To get to the place where you're um, starting to take down the family that screwed you over and killed, the people you cared about the most. That's one. And number two, there's so many like side missions and all of this other stuff to do that it just never feels like the same way the original games did, where you're just going from one thing to another within the story. And I think that really, really hurts this game. I should have been playing what we were playing in the last couple of hours right off the jump. Like, I think those first missions should have been you basically, have the same first mission, and then the second mission, have it be you going in and trying to get like, I just feel like it took me so long to get to the point where I wanted, where I was having really the most fun that I don't know. I think that really hurt the game. I think it was trying to keep both. And then there was one set of missions where you go and you're basically stopping a nuke from being transferred to people that shouldn't have them. And I thought it was a fun mission. I had no problem with it. But it just took me away from the actual game. And I realize now that maybe that was an optional mission. It didn't say optional, I didn't think. But still, just the fact that it was there, I think takes away a little bit from what I thought was the best part of the game. And I understand, like I said, they want to have different missions, and I have no problem with having the side missions and having this and that. The point I'm making is just it's not like the other Mafia games. And so I completely understand why people were kind of like, this is not for me, and especially because I do think there is this section of time where you got to get past this, first part of the game to get to the part that I enjoyed the most. And so my guess is a lot of people probably just said, I'm done. Screw it. I'm not going to be doing that. That's just my guess. And maybe some still played it all the way through. And like I said, there is repetition. Okay. And I understand why a lot of people don't like that. I've always been a fan. I always bring up the game Crackdown. Very, simple game, but I loved it so much. It has so much replayability to me just because of how it's formatted. And I think this game, there is a lot of freedom for you to do these missions the way you want to do them, and I like that. But it's also a downside because the story isn't as strong as maybe it would have been in the other ones, just because the other games, you're right in it, right? It's all dialogue driven, whereas this is kind of, I think, trying to do a little bit of too many things. So thank you all for watching, and we will do a video comparing all three of them at some point. We'll see you next time.